Good evening. You are tuning in to AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. Second phase of the vaccine rollout, the real test. Are we ready? And as the world focuses on COVID-19, are we losing sight in fighting TB? That's coming up. Both Malaysia's and Singapore's digital vaccination certificates will be secured by blockchain technology. According to Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, the certificates will come with a traceability feature that tells the exact batch of the vaccine vial used for inoculation.
In a Facebook post, Khairi said the interoperability between the digital certification systems used in both countries will be crucial, especially when taking into account standards set by the World Health Organization, International Air Transport Association and other countries. The matter was discussed during his meeting with Singapore Foreign Minister Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan in Putrajaya on Tuesday.
Next up, updates on the National COVID-19 Immunization Program. A total of 481,999 individuals have been vaccinated as at yesterday. Out of this number, 51,621 individuals had completed the full vaccination regimen.
Selangor recorded the highest number of individuals who received the first dose of the vaccine with 58,552, followed by Perak and Sabah. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded the highest number of individuals who have completed the 2 doses of the vaccine with 10,166, followed by Pahang and Perak. As of 11:59 p.m. yesterday, more than 6.4 million people have registered to be vaccinated against COVID-19.
Malaysia is ahead of schedule in its vaccine rollout. With over 480,000 people vaccinated, Khairi Jamaluddin said Phase 2 of the National Immunization Program would begin earlier than expected. Azrul Muhammad Khalib, CEO of Galen Centre for Health and Social Policy, says the real test of the vaccination drive is the second phase. What are some of the key challenges and how do we continue to address vaccine hesitancy among the public?
The second phase of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program begins from April to August and will involve a total of 9.4 million. They are senior citizens aged 65 and above, high-risk groups such as those with chronic diseases, as well as people with disabilities.
Vaccine hesitancy is going to be featuring large amongst the second phase group of people, especially since a lot of them are classified as vulnerable populations who need to be protected. These are predominantly people with coexisting conditions, comorbidities such as living with diabetes, cancer, hypertension, chronic kidney disease, and different illnesses that basically make them, uniquely qualified to be in second phase. So there's going to be a lot of hesitancy in this group of people because they're already living with a condition, a medical condition, which maybe they feel could interact with the vaccine that they're going to be receiving. But having said that, though, I think what we're going to see here in the key concerns for the second phase may not have really much to do with the vaccine hesitancy itself, but more towards the issues that we are looking at from a logistics as well as pragmatic perspective. The first key concern for the second phase is going to be whether we will have enough vaccine supply for this first phase. I know the government has indicated clearly that it has secured enough of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for 70% of the population, or at least has secured at least for 51%, another additional 20% for the population. So it'll be good to know whether this delivery schedule that has been made known is actually being kept to, so that we're going to continuously be able to have the supply of vaccine for us to be able to vaccinate as many people as possible.
Besides vaccine hesitancy and logical issues, Azrul highlighted the need for Malaysians to be registered as soon as possible.
Another issue here is really when you look at the data coming out from the MySejahtera as well as the JKVAV registration efforts for the vaccination rollout, you find that actually out of the 4 million people who have been registered, well, now it's, I think, 6.4 million people that have registered under the MySejahtera application, you find that actually around 1.6 or 1.7 million people out of that number qualify to be under phase 2. So we're asking the questions like, where are these people? Why are they not coming forward to register under MySejahtera? Are we going to end up missing a lot of people who are vulnerable and need to be protected under phase 2? We need as many people to get those shots to arms, as many as possible and as quickly as possible. So we may have a situation in phase 2 where the government may reconsider bringing forward some of those people in phase 3 to be vaccinated in phase 2, because maybe there's not enough people who have been pre-qualified to be vaccinated under phase 2.
Kelantan UMNO has officially cut ties with Bersatu ahead of the party's General Assembly this weekend. The party wants PAS to make a firm choice on whether it will be with UMNO or Bersatu in the 15th general election.
In a statement by Kelantan UMNO, the decision is supported by 12 out of 13 divisions after a meeting last night. PAS has so far refused to pick a side between UMNO and Bersatu. The party has a pact with UMNO through the Muafakat Nasional Coalition, but is a member of Bersatu's Perikatan Nasional Coalition. UMNO President Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has shot down speculations that the party might enter into a cooperation with PKR ahead of GE15. Zahid said there has been no such discussions, be it formal or informal. 1 week earlier, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim had told the press conference that there were initial discussions between several PKR leaders and those from UMNO. 300 members of the Ipoh Barat PKR branch quit the party today and joined Gerakan. According to a representative of former PKR members, the group made the decision to quit as they were frustrated with the power struggles that often occur in the PKR leadership and how the party ignored the interests of the people since GE14.
We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Mampukah rangkaian anda memperkasa organisasi
Welcome back. The clock is ticking. That is the theme for World Tuberculosis or TB Day 2021. In the midst of battling COVID-19, which killed over 2.7 million people worldwide, how has the impact our battle against other deadly infectious diseases like TB? Saraya Mia has the story.
Tuberculosis or TB is an infectious disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It spreads through droplets, mostly attack the lungs, but also can attack the kidney, spine, and brain. In 1993, WHO declared TB a global emergency. TB is one of the top 10 causes of death globally and the leading cause of death from a single infectious agent. WHO estimates that in 2018, nearly 10 million people around the world developed TB and 1.5 million people died from the disease. Majority of those affected were in Asia. According to consultant pulmonologist at Pantai Hospital, Dr. Hilmi Hajamaidin, the COVID-19 pandemic had halted the progress in eliminating other infectious diseases such as TB.
About 1.4 million fewer people have received the necessary care for TB over 2020 because of lockdown, because of hesitation or hesitance to actually go forth and actually get the treatment that they need. Now, on a personal level, I have seen cases where patients develop a cough, for example, but because they think it's a mild cough, it's not something that needs to be looked into, because the MCO is in place, they just hold back. So by the time they come and see me, it's literally months during which they have developed symptoms, things have become more severe, and unfortunately, because it's potentially contagious, when they have it to a point where they're coughing it out and then passing it on to others as well. So in some ways, the measures that we're being made more aware of, the measures that are being put in place, yes, that should help, but there's all these add-on effects that we're not seeing, the kind of indirect effects of having the pandemic, of having the lockdown.
The difference between TB and COVID-19, he said, is TB may exist dormant and cause symptoms later on in life.
The COVID-19 is a virus, so it behaves very differently from TB, which is a type of mycobacteria. And what's also quite important is that TB as a germ, as an organism, can live in you for many years. So you could have something called latent TB, where the organism is, shall we say, well, it's dormant within you, up to a point where something happens to make it active again. So getting exposed to it today may not necessarily result in developing symptoms over the next few days or the next few weeks. It can remain dormant in you, and at some point, it can become active and cause havoc. This is quite different from COVID, where exposure will lead to symptoms if you were to get the disease over the next few days. And usually the concept of quarantine, where we put people away or we ask people to self-isolate for 10 days, there's a logic behind it, because if you don't get it within that 10 days, then you're not going to suddenly develop COVID-19 out of the blue.
On to updates in Myanmar. The junta freed hundreds of demonstrators arrested during its brutal crackdown on protests, in what is seen as gesture by the military to try to pacify the anti-coup protests. While many businesses in Yangon remained shut and streets were deserted after anti-coup activists called for a silent strike. This came a day after security forces shot dead a 7-year-old girl in Mandalay on Tuesday. Meanwhile, a court hearing for ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been postponed until April 1st. With the majority of votes counted following Israel's fourth election in less than 2 years, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's prospect for another term looked uncertain after exit polls projected no clear path to victory. With about 88% of votes counted, it appeared that Netanyahu, leader of the right-wing party Likud, would have to cobble together an unlikely coalition that might include Jewish Orthodox, ultra-nationalist and Arab parties to secure another term. A fifth election also remains an option if neither camp can form a coalition. In that case, Netanyahu would remain a caretaker prime minister, heading for a corruption trial and a confrontation with US President Joe Biden over Iran. One of the world's most active volcanoes, Mount Etna in Italy, erupted overnight for the 16th time, sending lava rocks flying up to 900 meters into the air. According to local media, the crater released numerous gas bubbles with strong explosions. Fountains of lava were visible and the smoke from the explosion spread out over a 6-kilometer radius, reaching the city of Catania, prompting airport runways and airspace to be closed due to ashes. Mount Etna is the largest active volcano in Italy. Recently, Malaysian diplomatic ties with Australia were upgraded, months after ties with China had a similar strategic partnership status. What was the context and the impetus for this move? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to His Excellency Edward Goletszanovsky, Australian High Commissioner to Malaysia, and Prof. Azmi Hassan from UTM. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news update on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro AWANI app. I'm Farhana Sheikh. We'll see you tomorrow.